We're inside a women's prison in Derbyshire.
Good luck, because there's a hole here.
The government think many of those that are here shouldn't be. That prison isn't the best form of punishment for them. The majority are serving short sentences of less than 6 months.
From the age of 15, I've not really had a very good life, so I've just been in and out of prison most of my life now.
This is Connie. She has 9 shoplifting convictions. Do you think you should be in prison?
To be quite honest, I steal from shops, so probably yeah.
Do you think people should be in prison for theft?
It depends what kind of theft. Like my kind of theft, I need chocolate from shops and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So definitely not, 100% not. But they're just, it is just what it is, isn't it?
At points, she's been homeless and addicted to drugs. Stuck, she says, in a cycle.
So I used to just come to prison just to keep myself safe before, but this prison, you're not safe in it. I never self-harmed till I come to this prison. And I've started self-harming really, really bad. You don't seem to get hurt unless you self-harm in this prison. It's disgusting.
Connie will sometimes only be in jail for a matter of weeks. Still, plenty of time in her cell to think. What have you left kind of on the outside? What's sort of going through your mind?
It's sad to say, really, because there's nothing really out there. I do have a son, he's 13, but I haven't seen him for many years now. I have no help whatsoever in how to approach and getting him back into my life.
Do you think about your son? I mean, do you miss him?
Yeah, all the time, definitely. I know this might sound harsh, but I think it's got to the point now I don't know what to miss about him, but I think about him every single day, of course I do, yeah.
We asked the prisons minister what he thinks about Connie's situation.
Well, it's really sad to hear. You know, we're dealing in the female prison estate with some of the most complex people in the country. And the example of Connie, I see lots of people like Connie, sadly, in the prison system.
There will be people, though, that sort of see Connie's story, see that she's a repeat offender and feel that she should be in prison, that she deserves to be in prison. I mean, what would you say to that?
For lots of women, prison is the right place to be. But where there are certain circumstances, for example, for non-violent offences, for women, over half of women in prison have children. You need to work out what is the right path to make sure that they don't commit further crime.
Many are committing further crimes, in and out of jail for short periods of time. Prison for some feels better than life outside. It's Donna's 3rd time at this jail.
I don't mind prison, to be honest. I think it's like rehab. I know you get clean when you're here, do you know what I mean? And I needed it.
Do you feel like you're losing time?
You feel like you've wasted a lot of your life, yeah. A lot goes through your head, yeah, a lot. Like all your mistakes.
And do you see lots of people coming in and out of prison?
All the time, yeah.
Time that feels wasted and a heavy churn of people. Not exactly a recipe for rehabilitation. What's the biggest barrier to stopping reoffending?
The time to rehabilitate. They're reoffending because they don't know anything better. They're entrenched in criminal backgrounds. They've been committing crimes since tiny ages, and we need the time to break that cycle, really. Maybe a different approach.
Part of that cycle is about drugs and addiction, sometimes made worse when in prison.
You can just get drugs so easy in here. It's meant to be a punishment in prison, and really some people look at it like it's a life of luxury in here. You know what I mean? They come here because they get fed, they come here because they've got a bed, do you know what I mean? They come here because they can get a job, and do you know what I mean? People like to come here as it's like a holiday camp for some people.
Amanda is the drug strategy lead here. She works in a wing dedicated to prevention and recovery. How big of a problem are illegal drugs in prison?
They're the main problem of everything that we work towards every single day. They're the main drivers for violence. They can cause self-harm issues. They cause vulnerability. I'd say that illicit drugs are our main issue day to day in everything that we do.
Another big issue that everyone referenced was mental health.
For the people that are mentally unwell, I think quite a few that probably shouldn't even be here. They're more suitable for secure hospitals.
The levels of self-harm here are some of the highest in the women's estate. people are prisoners, but staff think some should be patients.
Mental health is the most acute one at the moment in terms of the volume of women that are coming in that are extremely unwell. Substance misuse, domestic violence, the majority of the women here have been a victim themselves during their life. They've experienced abuse from childhood.
On her way out of prison as we filmed, we met Tilat. She was prosecuted for smuggling in an item while visiting someone, also in prison. It was her first offence. She served less than 3 months.
So not long, but it felt like a long time?
It felt like years, to be honest.
In her bags, there was a CV that Tilat had prepared for when she left, but she didn't seem hopeful.
How are you feeling about leaving?
It's a very hard thing to do, I think. As soon as coming out of them gates, I think you just have hundreds and thousands of things going through your head. How you're going to manage, what you're going to do. Because when I came in, I had a job. I ain't got a job now. I was working in the NHS as a cleaner for 18 years. I think it's a bit bad having a conviction.
Do you feel sort of supported? Do you feel stressed about?
The prisoners gave me enough support as possible, but the prison can't hold my hand outside. So when I'm outside, I'll have to hold my own hand.
Going forward, some offenders will require support outside, as politicians look to send fewer people to prison.
We're about to see potentially a quite significant shift in sentencing policy, and even though the women prison population is small, they could become a big part of the conversation, and that's because lots of them are serving short sentences. Some of them will be scrapped. They're considered to be, many of them, victims of crime themselves, and the government see them as a vulnerable group, perhaps not best punished in prison.
It makes it worthwhile, you know, it makes...
Instead, they'll be looking to places like this, a women's centre in Nottingham.
If we look at poverty, if we look at adverse childhood experiences, if we look at trauma, if we look at mental health, they all contribute to the reasons that people end up involved in the criminal justice system.
Women here get counselling, free legal advice and help with employment or housing. It's part funded by the government and for those serving community sentences or those on probation after they leave prison.
When I got released, I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to get a job? No one's going to want to take me on.
I think what happens when a man goes to prison is that there is usually a woman holding everything together. Usually when women are sent to prison, it's for short sentences. It's not a long enough time for anything productive to happen. It's just long enough to rip their entire lives apart.
So if I take you through to the welcome space to start with.
This place is seen by ministers as the future for certain offenders, but those that run it say things need to change.
Prison isn't the only way of holding women to account for their behaviour. And if we want to hold them to account and we want them to change and not reoffend, then we've got to build something that is very different. And if the benefit of that, all of that wraparound service is recognised and we want it to be sustainably available for women so that they have the opportunity to change their decision making, then it needs to be funded sustainably. We are considerably cheaper than a prison sentence. And whilst the work is intensive, it is effective.
The government has a prison overcrowding crisis and so wants to see change. They have two priorities when it comes to the criminal justice system: send fewer people to prison, but also clamp down on low-level crime. They are conflicting challenges, and they'll have to take the public with them. Molly Malone, Sky News.